This is a work of fiction depicting what may have resulted from a real-life terrorist plot from the 1990s. This plot was disrupted by an accidental fire while the terrorists were building bombs. They were caught by Philippine police in early January of 1995, only a couple of weeks before the plot was to begin. What you are about to hear is a chronological collection of audio clips covering the events of the BOJINKA plot, an early conceptual predecessor to what we now know as 9/11.
American 3-3, this is Kennedy Tower. Adjust heading to 240 and increase altitude to 10,000 feet. American 3-3, do you read? This is Kennedy Tower. Someone else try him.
American 3-3, please respond. American 3-3, this is New York Center, please respond.
This is Kennedy Tower calling American 3-3. We have you at heading 190 and descent from 3,000 feet. Is everything alright? Kennedy Tower, American 3-3. We have you at 2,500 feet. Increase altitude if able. Report Mayday if unable.
Attention all aircraft. This is New York Center. We're directing traffic away from American 3-3 who is unresponsive in a descent southbound along the Hudson.
Kennedy Tower to Teterboro Tower. He's closer to you. Ready all emergency services and stand by. We may have a situation here. We've got a 737 unresponsive. Maybe some kind of emergency. He's going down along the Hudson. Just flew low over the George Washington Bridge. Really low.
Good morning, and welcome back to Good Day USA. I'm your host, Lance Shaw.
And I'm your co-host, Wanda Carter. It's currently 9:44 in the morning on Friday, January 20th, 1995. It's been a rather warm day for January, with this winter having been fairly mild. It's about 40 degrees right now outside our New York studio, with light rain expected later in the day.
That's right, Wanda. It's a rather nice morning here in New York and across the nation. And like you said, it's been a pleasantly warm winter. What have we got in the headlines this morning?
Well, in pop culture news, the vocal group Boyz II Men has managed to take the #1 spot on the Billboard chart with their hit single, On Bed With Me, which replaced their previous hit single, I'll Make Love To You. This makes Boyz II Men the first group to replace themselves at the top of the Billboard since Elvis Presley and the Beatles.
Boyz II Men will be joining us here for an exclusive interview at 1 p.m. later today, so you're not going to want to miss that.
I think we just lost American 3-3.
What position?
East side of the Hudson, near Manhattan.
Notify New York Fire. Is he in the river?
Not sure. He disappeared somewhere near Holland Tunnel.
In sports news, the National Hockey League has reached an agreement to end a month-long strike, which delayed the start of the 1994-95 season. The remainder of the season, originally slated for 82 games, has been shortened to only 48 games, making this the shortest hockey season in more than 50 years.
The agreement between players and franchise owners ended a lockout and had been ongoing for 3 months, 1 week and 3 days. Players sought collective bargaining rights, while owners sought to cap the rising salaries of the players.
In entertainment news, a new comedy play is hitting Broadway next month. The play, titled Love, Valor, Compassion, won a Tony Award last year for its premiere at the Manhattan Theater Club. Written by famed playwright Terrence McNally, the new show will debut on Broadway at the Walter Kerr Theater this Valentine's Day.
And that's your morning news wrap for Friday, January 20th. We'll be going on break shortly, and when we do return, we'll be joined by Mariah Carey, who is here to discuss her recent holiday album, Merry Christmas, as well as exclusive new details of her new album, which she is hard at work on.
You know, it's almost February and I still have that Mariah Carey Christmas song stuck in my head. Well, we'll be looking forward to that interview for sure. And later in the afternoon, we'll be joined by Boyz II Men to discuss their chart-topping new single as well. It's a calm, quiet morning here on Good Day, USA.
Almost too quiet.
Well, that is how we like it. We like to keep it light in the mornings here on Good Day, USA. Plenty of people are listening to us as they start their workday this morning. TGIF, for those of you looking forward to the weekend. We'll go to break now, and we'll be right back with Mariah Carey.
Reagan Tower to United 719. Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Heading 290. United 719. Turn right and return to heading 290. Climb and maintain 15,000 feet. Do any aircraft have visuals on United 757? Turning to the southwest about 10 miles east of Cumberland? Trying to get him on the radio. No luck. He's turning off course and descending. Something is wrong here. United 719, this is Reagan Tower. Urgent. Do you read? United 719, you have a copy.
So, Mariah, tell us what inspired you to work on this song, this All I Want for Christmas Is You. It became a huge hit this holiday season after you released it in October, and it has all the makings of a future holiday classic. What was it that made you want to write a Christmas song?
I was up at the farm upstate where we did the video, and it was nighttime and I was just walking around, and I got the idea for the song because it was kind of like a very, the song is a very retro, kind of cute little Christmas ditty, and it was just, I don't know where it came from. Sometimes things just come to me like that. Sometimes I'll think about I want to write a song like this or like that, but that melody just came into my head, the verse melody, and then
Mariah, Wanda, I'm sorry to cut you guys off, but we do have some breaking news here in New York. Our traffic helicopter is flying over Manhattan currently. Sky Eye Chopper 7 is in the air, and they've reported to us that there is a large fire ongoing right now at Tower 1 of the World Trade Center there at the lower tip of Manhattan.
Oh no, how big of a fire? Do they know what caused it?
Our pilot in Chopper 7 is saying it is a very large fire, that it has engulfed what appears to be several entire floors, and that there appears to be a large gaping hole in the building somewhere around floors 78 to 80. If you're familiar with the World Trade Center, you know there is a sky lobby on the 78th floor. That's about 2/3 of the way up the building. The fire and the large hole appear to be in the area of the sky lobby of Tower 1 at the World Trade Center.
What's the deal with the hole? Do we know that yet?
We do not yet know why there appears to be a large hole in the building. It's possible that the fire may have caused something inside the building to explode. We do not know yet. But there is a large plume of smoke billowing from the middle top area of World Trade Center 1.
Do they think this could have been a bombing? Maybe this is, I hate to say it, but we just saw with the Pope this past weekend, and then with the airliners, anything is possible.
We do not know if this is the result of terrorist activity at this time. All we know is that our traffic helicopter Sky I-7 was airborne over Manhattan when the pilot spotted a large plume of smoke coming from large orange flames that seemed to be coming from around the 78th to 80th floors.
Hey, we've got people listening to police scanners here, and they say that first responders are saying that there was a plane crash.
A plane crash? What do you mean, a plane crash?
Okay, yeah, I think Wanda may have had a point. We'll wait for authorities to officially say so, but something tragic has just happened at the World Trade Center. A very large, multi-floor fire, which we have unconfirmed reports of, may have been caused by a plane crash. We do not know more at this time, but if this was indeed an aircraft collision, it is hard to believe, given recent events, that it could be any sort of accident.
Hey, that American 3-3. Local news is saying that they've got reports of a fire at the World Trade Center. That's near where that plane went down, isn't it?
That's affirmative. It was on the Hudson near the Holland Tunnel.
I think you missed the Hudson, actually.
It's just after 10 a.m. now, and if you're just joining us, we are covering breaking news of a dramatic plane crash into the North Tower of the World Trade Center here in Manhattan. That event occurring a little more than 15 minutes ago. We actually have a view from the roof of the building our studio is in, and Lance has volunteered to go up there with the equipment to report to us from the roof of the building. Lance, hi. What are you able to see?
I see lots of smoke billowing from the midsection of Tower 1. There are helicopters flying around, both from the news media and the NYPD. Now, we've talked about the possibility that perhaps a helicopter could be landed atop the roof of that tower to evacuate the people from the upper floors. However, there's been no attempt to reach the building with the helicopter that I've seen. With how much smoke there is, I have to wonder if it's even safe to fly at all in that area of the World Trade Center currently. Because this thick black smoke is just billowing up and into the sky. There's a giant black cloud just lingering over Manhattan currently as a result of this raging fire.
This is Reagan Tower. We have an aircraft incident. Repeat, aircraft incident. United 719, aircraft type 737. Lost radar contact about 3 miles north-northeast of Reagan National Airport.
Reagan Tower, this is Washington Center. Did you just say 3 miles northeast of Reagan Airport?
Affirmative. Aircraft down 3 miles northeast of DCA.
Check again, because that's in the middle of the city.
I'm aware. Aircraft down at that location. I can see smoke rising east end of the mall.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm alerting DC Fire and Metro Police now.
Let me know what they say about it.
327 F1 goes to Marshall. 305, finish up the final bearing 229.
Metro Police say they just heard from Capitol Police that a jetliner struck, apparently the Capitol building.
You're not serious, are you?
Affirmative. Plane crash on Capitol Hill.
Was it a terrorist attack, do they think?
They're saying it dove straight for the building. It looked intentional.
That's an attack then.
They're saying it's on the news, that the same thing happened in New York at the World Trade Center. Another plane.
Alright, that's it. I'm shutting down our sector and calling up the line for the military. We gotta alert NORAD and get fighter jets airborne stat before more of these happen.
American 1655, increase altitude immediately. You are on course to collide with urban terrain. American 1655, pull up immediately if able. Roll to the side if unable to climb. Do you read me? You are about to crash into urban terrain. American 1655, fix your situation as instructed. You are on a collision course with downtown Fuck. American 1655, do you read? This is Chicago Center requesting emergency services. Downtown Chicago. Boeing 737 down in urban area.
I've got a pair of binoculars up here. One of our studio guys just handed them to me a minute ago, and I've been using them to get a closer look at the World Trade Center. I can see what appear to be people waving from the edge of the hole where the plane impacted. There are people there, and they appear to be waving to nearby helicopters for help. My God. I wish something could be done to help them. I'm sure the firefighters are on their way up, but hopefully they arrive sooner than later. It looks like hell over there.
I'm sure it does look, very frightening indeed.
No, I mean it literally looks like hell. There's bright red-orange flames shooting up everywhere, and I can see people. Mostly just shadows and silhouettes of people, and it's just a scene of pure suffering over there. My God, I cannot believe what I am seeing right now.
Lance, do you have a radio with you up there? We are getting some disturbing reports about...
No, I don't. Well, why would I? The story's unfolding just downtown. I can see it.
I'm sorry, Lance, but we are getting reports now that the camera and audio feeds operated by C-SPAN have apparently lost signal. When nearby media stations investigated, they noticed a large plume of black smoke billowing from the area of Capitol Hill.
You're kidding me, really? What happened there?
Capitol Police say that the Capitol building was stricken by a large jet, which they say dived straight for the north wing of the Capitol before exploding in a gigantic orange fireball. We are told that both the House and the Senate were in session today. The House was debating pending legislation while the Senate was holding an open discussion to propose new legislation. There are no reports at present as to the number of casualties, if any, in the apparent attack on the U.S. Capitol building.
Holy Mother of God. This happened to the Capitol building? The U.S. Capitol in D.C.?
I was reluctant to say it earlier, but surely there is no denying it now. We are currently experiencing an ongoing terrorist attack, somehow using jet airplanes. We do not know how they came into possession of these planes, which are being used as if like missiles to attack targets of significance in the United States. It started with the World Trade Center in New York at 9:45, followed approximately 18 minutes later at 10:03 with a similar strike on the U.S. Capitol building. Lawmakers were in session at the time of this attack. We do not know casualties at this time.
Benton County 911, what is your emergency?
A nuclear incident. I'm an engineer at the Hanford site, and we just had a large plane crash into one of the buildings of the nuclear project, too. I'm pretty sure it's one of the fuel storage buildings that was hit. Jesus Christ, you gotta get over here. You gotta get firefighters down here, quick. Send all this you got. It's a bad situation.
I understand, sir. What is your name?
I'm Tom Bellamy. I'm a nuclear engineer for Westinghouse Electric. My responsibility is nuclear fuel at the power plant here. It's one of the storage buildings for the spent fuel rods that was hit, and there's a huge fire. Let the first responders know that there's a radiation risk. We're monitoring levels rising at a slow but steady rate, and the longer this fire burns, the worse the radiation is going to be.
You say there's a radiation leak from the nuclear power plant due to a large fire, is that correct?
Yes, that's right. There's a large, uncontrolled fire and extensive structural damage to the building.
And what causes structural damage?
A plane crash, damn it! I don't know how or why, but it was a big plane. Major radiation risk. Get fire. Get hazmat. Get everyone here. Now!
Attention all aircraft. This is New York Center. Attention all aircraft. The FAA has issued an immediate nationwide grounding order. ATC 0. Repeat, ATC 0. All airbound aircraft are to land at once at the nearest possible airport.
How are we handling this? Are we taking everyone?
Domestic only. International flights are being directed to Canada.
Guardian 1, in formation. Guardian 2, in formation. Guardian 1, ready to engage. Guide us to our targets, Washington Center.
Roger that, Guardians. We have 2 unresponsive aircraft, similar circumstances to the others. Target 1 is a Boeing 757 American, and Target 2 is a 737 Delta. The American is around 40 miles due west of Dulles International, presently traveling at heading 105. The Delta is about 50 miles west-southwest of Dulles, about 15 miles due south of Warren County Airport, heading 75.
Guardian 1 to Washington Center. I'll take Target 1. Guardian 2, take Target 2.
Washington Center to Guardians 1 and 2, set heading 275 towards Front Royale. You should see the targets on radar any moment then.
Roger that. Setting course now. Guardian 1, roger. Ready to engage.
Godspeed, Guardians. All of America is with you.
Obviously, very disturbing details coming to us at almost lightning speed here. Reports of a plane crash in Chicago into the iconic Sears Tower there, as well as an evacuation order issued at Benton County, Washington, due to an apparent radiation incident at the nuclear power plant there. We do not know if there is an aircraft involved in Washington State incidents at this time, but around 10,000 people were affected by an evacuation order which was just issued there a couple minutes ago.
It's a very quickly developing situation indeed, Wanda. The FAA has shut down all airspace across the United States. Domestic flights are to land immediately at the nearest airport, while international flights are being redirected to Canada. This comes on the heels of at least 3, possibly 4, rapid attacks against buildings using what authorities say are passenger jetliners servicing domestic air routes.
Kennedy Tower to New York Center. We've got that Delta 314 on track toward the city. He's kind of all over now.
Yeah? What's he doing?
He just descended sharply and recovered. Now he's sort of rocking back and forth. Oh, there he goes. Sharply upwards now. Yeah, he's all over up there.
Delta 314, if you read, this is New York Center. We've got you on radar making some distressing move. Make contact if able.
He's leveling off now. Still pretty erratic, but he looks to be recovering.
New York Center to Delta 314, attempting to make contact. Is anybody there capable of responding? I've got you, Delta 314. Try again. Please respond.
I read you, New York Center. This is, well, I suppose this is Delta 314.
Come again, Delta 314. Clarify last transmission. Identify.
This is Captain Philip Bolton. I'm a commercial pilot for American Airlines. I was passenger on this Delta flight today. We got hijacked.
He's been hijacked?
Affirmative. 2 guys took control of the cabin with a fake bomb and some mace spray. And 2 other guys, they stabbed our pilots with box cutters and took over the aircraft. Our pilots are dead. They're lying in the aisle outside the cockpit.
Are you aware of what's happened in New York, Chicago, and Washington?
I am. My wife called me on my cell phone just before the hijacking and asked if I was flying today. I told her, nope, not personally, but I am in the air. She told me about the Trade Center and Capitol. Then our plane got taken over. I immediately knew we had to do something. I'm a 15-year veteran captain for Americans, so this aircraft is back in safe hands.
What's your name again, sir? We want to know who the hero is.
Oh, please don't call me that. My name is Philip Bolton, and I only did what was right.
Report status of hijackers.
2 dead, 2 others being restrained by passengers and cabin crew. We've got the 2 bodies up front, and the live ones are at the back with everyone else.
Jesus Christ. How about say we get you on ground and let this be over?
That would be fantastic, thank you. Where do you want me?
Maintain current heading for about another 80 miles until New Rochelle. Then turn left heading 220 to line up at runway 22 at LaGuardia.
Roger that, New York Center. Delta 314 on course for runway 22 LaGuardia.
Great to hear, Delta 314. America owes you a debt of gratitude today, Captain Bolton.
I didn't do it alone. About 20 passengers and crew helped me. We'll give you our names when we land.
America would like to know.
Wanda Charlie 4. Go ahead. Well, what's your location, sir? Unresponsive for the Whitefield. Copy on the road, airfield. Oh, 437. Hey, Glock center. Al 31, Al 21.
Unit 7901, Central reporting 911.
Go ahead, 79.
AC, upper floors of Library Tower, downtown. Code 8, code 99, over.
Aircraft crash at Library Tower. Major fire on the upper floors. All units respond.
That's affirmative. Mass casualty in progress, downtown, over.
Roger that. All units, code 99 emergency. All units, code 99 emergency. Large fire in progress due to aircraft collision at Library Tower, over.
It's spectacular and horrifying to see this in person. The sight of all these papers and various bits of debris flying around, it's almost like a nuclear winter sort of scene, like you'd see in an old horror movie. I'm looking closer with the binoculars again. And I can actually see a guy who looks like he's trying to climb down the side of the tower between the beams there, and oh my god, he just fell!
We're gonna cut away from Lance, who is watching the tragedy of the World Trade Center unfold from atop our roof here. We've obtained new audio from C-SPAN from the moment the U.S. Capitol was struck by an attack. The first audio is from the Senate chamber, which we understand is where the aircraft struck. At only 3 minutes into today's session, Senator Bob Dole of Kansas was still laying out the rules for the day's free-form discussion. Let's hear that audio.
There will be a period for the transaction of routine morning business throughout the day, with senators permitted to speak for not to exceed 15 minutes each. And remind senators, members of their staff, that under the unanimous consent agreement entered last night, there will be no roll call votes today and no roll call votes on Monday prior to 4 p.m. Today, senators may discuss their amendments to S1 and have them printed in the record in order to qualify them under the 3 p.m. Tuesday deadline. But I would suggest that how many...
Very shocking to listen to. We understand from subsequent reporting by the Capitol Police and DC Fire that there are likely to be dozens of casualties in the U.S. Senate. The next audio comes from the other side of the building, at the House chamber, where Representative John Boehner of Ohio is giving his following opening arguments in today's legislative session. That audio lasts a bit longer before signal is lost. Listeners, be warned, the following audio may be disturbing.
In the next 84 days, we will vote on the following 10 items. A balanced budget amendment and line item veto. A new crime bill to stop violent criminals. Welfare reform to encourage work, not dependency. family reinforcement to crack down on deadbeat dads and protect our children. Tax cuts for families to lift government's burden from middle-income Americans. National security restoration to protect our freedoms. Senior Citizens Equity Act to allow our seniors to work without government penalty. Government regulations.
Guardian 1 to Washington Center, reporting Bandit 1 in sight. Request for updated mission intel.
Your mission has not changed, Guardian 1.
Guardian 1, copy that. Weapons ready. Target locked. Guardian 1, Fox 2. Splash 1. Confirmed kill. Position 7 miles southwest of Dulles Airport. Is going down in a field on the other side of the highway.
Copy that, Guardian 1. RTB Andrews. Over.
Guardian 1, copy, Washington Center. Worst fucking Friday ever.
Affirmative.
All units, attention all units. Partial collapse at Library Tower. The top 15 floors or so, the area above the impact zone, has collapsed into pieces onto the street below. We've got a code 8 atom. We need traffic barriers set up around a 5-block perimeter.
Copy that, 7-9. Reports of partial collapse above the impact zone at Library Tower. All units be advised.
Collapse along floors 55 to 57. Everything above there is now on the street. There's dust. It's hard to breathe. Tell everyone to get respirators on if they're going to be down here.
FBI agents in Virginia say that they have arrested a 27-year-old Pakistani national who attempted to take off in a private aircraft from Franklin Municipal Airport in Isle of Wight County. The aircraft, a Cessna 172 single-engine propeller plane, was found packed with TATP, an unstable and highly explosive compound seen previously in terrorist bombs. The Cessna was privately owned and registered by an Abdel Hakim Murad, whom the FBI have charged with conspiracy and attempting to bomb an aircraft. When authorities searched the aircraft, they found a photo of the CIA headquarters complex in nearby Langley with the front side of the main building circled in red permanent marker. The airport authorities notified law enforcement that the aircraft had started its engine and began taxiing to the runway in defiance of orders from controllers who were enforcing the nationwide airspace closure. Police quickly descended on the scene and secured the plane and the suspect, and then promptly notified the FBI once the explosives were discovered. We now go to Lance, who is reporting from the roof. What are you seeing up there, Lance?
Some more of the crew have joined me up here, and we've been listening to the 911 scanner to collect more information. We've been hearing that the FDNY is concerned. Given the uncontrolled nature of this raging inferno and their inability to effectively fight a blaze so high up, they are concerned about the structural integrity of the tower itself now. The World Trade Center was designed with its support beams covered by a flame-retardant foam. However, that foam is only designed to last about an hour exposed to direct flame. And that's to say nothing of the plane collision, which could have done untold damage to the structure on the inside. Firefighters are now in a race against time to try to rescue people before, potentially, another catastrophe may strike.
Are we hearing aircraft above you? What is going on out there?
Yeah, Wanda. That was an Air Force fighter jet that just flew by. An F-15, I think. The military has seemingly established a patrol around Manhattan. We keep seeing F-15s and F-16s flying by at regular intervals.
Yeah, I can hear them in the background there. This is scary. It's almost like war.
It is war, Wanda. Whatever is going on, whoever is behind this is an ongoing act of war we are witnessing here. The military is responding accordingly.
Tom Bellamy. Incident log the 20th of January, 1995, 7:25 a.m., recording 1. I've been measuring radiation levels around the local area since the fire began. I want to stay on site to help direct the first responders in any way that I can, so I haven't gone very far from the plant. I've gone just as far as the Richland Airport, about 12 miles due south of the nuclear plant. Radiation levels at the Richland Airport, as of 15 minutes post-incident, were around 10 rems. Voluntary evacuation within a 10-mile radius should be encouraged. At the bank of the Columbia River, about 3 miles due east of the facility, after 5 minutes, measured 18 rems. Mandatory evacuation within 5 miles should be ordered. The weather forecast for today shows calm winds currently, but the potential for winds up to 20 miles per hour in a northwesterly direction in the afternoon. If this fire is still burning by noon, we could see the smoke plume spread fallout into Sunnyside, possibly up to around 5 rems. 2 to 3 rems possible in Yakima, particularly if the Yakima River is contaminated. If the fire continues to burn as the wind increases into the evening, we could even be looking at contamination in the neighborhood of 1 to 2 rems as far away as Tacoma or Seattle. Residents there may be advised to shelter in place if the fire cannot be contained. Readings from in and around the Washington Nuclear Project 2 facility were measured higher than 50 rems in most places. At the front gate, the reading was 52 rems. All non-essential staff are in the process of evacuating. Firefighters and other first responders should be wearing full hazmat gear. Full-face respirators and hoods are a must. Lead-lined protective gear should be provided if possible. Prolonged exposure will cause long-term health effects. Inside the spent fuel pool building, the readings, they're really high. Really, really high. In excess of levels that can cause acute radiation sickness. I've measured 73 rems around the perimeter of the building and 77 inside where most of the major fire is. As for protective measures, responders should take every precaution available to them and work in shifts of no more than 5 minutes inside the fuel pool building. If they spend any longer in there, they're going to receive a fatal dose.
Washington Center to Guardian 2. We have you on radar approaching last known location of target. Do you see him?
Roger, Center. Bandit in sight, oncoming at 13 miles and closing.
Do what you need to stop him from reaching the city. Report target heading and position.
Target at heading 115, about 7 miles northeast of Purcellville. Crossing the Virginia state line now. I'm right north of Limskog and heading towards him.
Lots of clear land out there. Won't be the case for long. Drop him before he reaches Leesburg.
Roger. He's dead ahead of me now. Closing fast. Turning around. He just flew past me.
Easy does it, Guardian 2. Focus on the objective and you can RTB.
Got him in sight again. Bandit heading at 100, 2 miles ahead of me. Report target intel. How should I engage?
Treat it like an enemy cruise missile because that's what it is now. Shoot to kill.
Report number of souls on board.
Irrelevant. He's nearing Leesburg. Execute your mission.
Tell me what's happening.
Irrelevant. Execute mission.
Hey, I saw people when this plane flew by me. I'm shooting down a jet with live passengers. I want to know how many and why.
He's north of Leesburg, damn it. Execute.
Report.
138. Terrorist hijacking. Multiple crashes into cities, including one at the Capitol. We're at war now.
Fuck me. Fox 2. Splash 1. Target down.
Report position.
12 miles east-northeast of the Dulles. Downed him over a park along the Potomac.
Good job, Guardian 2. RGB Andrews. All of America surely owes you a great debt today.
I can think of 138 who might disagree.
The White House has just given its first public remarks since these attacks began 40 minutes ago. Chief of Staff Leon Panetta said in a phone call to NBC that President Clinton has been moved to an undisclosed secure location, along with key members of his staff. The White House complex in D.C. has been fully evacuated, as have the State Department and the Treasury. Observatory Circle also lies empty at this hour, with Vice President Al Gore also having vacated the city to a secure secondary location. Panetta says he informed the president of the attack on Capitol Hill at 10:04, less than a minute after it occurred, and evacuation plans were set in motion immediately. The president, who was attending a meeting related to foreign policy when the Capitol was struck, is safe and is being kept updated as the situation unfolds, Panetta says. Shifting our focus now to Oakland, California, we do have a developing story to report on at the airport there. The FBI says it seized a Boeing 737 plane, which was being held on the tarmac following a delay when air traffic controllers received the nationwide ground stop order. That order having come at 10:11 as we understand. That aircraft, Delta Flight 540 from Oakland with Atlanta as its intended destination, was reported to aircraft officials by the flight attendants, who heard news of the attacks on the radio and noticed 5 suspicious men seated near the front of the cabin. The 737 operating as Delta 540 has been seized by federal officials, and the 5 suspicious passengers have been taken into custody. The FBI says it recovered utility knives from 3 of the men and a device resembling a bomb from another. The men, whose names have not been released, are Pakistani, Yemeni, and Saudi nationals who have been each charged with conspiracy and attempting to hijack an airliner. The other passengers on board were questioned as witnesses on a voluntary basis and promptly released from custody. The aircraft is still in federal custody as forensic teams looking to see whether any further evidence can be uncovered. We'll go once again to Lance Shaw, who is reporting from the roof, where he says he just saw something. What did he see, Lance?
Wanda, it's incredible and unbelievable what I have just witnessed. A large portion, or perhaps even the entirety, of Tower 1 of the World Trade Center has just seemed to collapse right before my eyes. I guarantee if you look out a window, you'll see what I'm talking about. Leave the studio real quick and go to the end of the hallway to the left and look south, and you'll see the streets are covered in a thick cloud of dust. It's like a rolling storm cloud of dust and likely pulverized concrete and other various materials that is just rolling its way through the streets. Through the binoculars, I can see people running away, and on our scanner here, the firefighters are now saying that the entire building has suffered a major collapse.
Oh my god. There's no way. You're right. I have to go see this. I'll leave you with Lance Shaw, everybody. I'll be right back. Lance, describe what you saw for our listeners, please.
So I was watching the tower, where the plane impacted a little over midway up. And as we've been watching over the past 50 minutes or so, the smoke has been rising in thick black plumes from the hole and between the beams of the tower. All of a sudden, there was like a gust of wind from inside the tower, and it blew the smoke outward rapidly. And then I noticed the beams around the upper edge of the hole begin to bend and buckle. Now remember, the tower was struck fairly low. Witnesses have said the aircraft took a sharp downward descent just before it reached the building. And so there's this whole top section which became top heavy, as the building began to come down. The top 30 floors or so just sort of leaned over to the side and toppled downward, raining pieces of the structure down onto the buildings and streets below. The top of the building came down first in like a 45-degree angle, followed by the rest of the building, which collapsed straight downward, almost like an accordion. As the dust where the tower once stood now begins to thin, I can see that there appears to be significant damage to the northern face of Tower 2, the South Tower, which stands but appears to have a large gash ripped down the side. The gash may be about 20 or 30 stories tall, and it looks like there are some fires burning along the edges that may have spread from the collapse of Tower 1.
Lance, I'm back. I just saw what you were telling me about. You're right. The streets are absolutely choked full of this gray, thick cloud of dust, or whatever it is down there. If you're just joining us now on Radio 660, our own Lance Shaw has witnessed the collapse of the World Trade Center Tower 1, which came around 45 or so minutes after it was stricken by the large jetliner in what turned out to be an opening stage to a coordinated and nationwide series of attacks on high-profile buildings. Lance?
Correct, Wanda. We were just talking a bit ago about how firefighters were growing worried about the structural integrity of Tower 1, given the uncontrolled jet fuel-soaked fire which had burned for over half an hour by that point, as well as the untold damage that was undoubtedly caused by the collision of the aircraft. Now, at a little after 10:30, Tower 1, it appears, is completely gone, having collapsed like a house of cards in a matter of moments. Tower 2, meanwhile, has sustained significant damage, and fires appear to be spreading to that tower as well. America, there simply are no words for this tremendous tragedy which has befallen our nation. A nation under attack. A nation at war.